Hi, my name is Nick Harris, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can send push notifications with Windows Azure Mobile Services. We're going to build out a scenario that essentially sends tile, toast, and badge notifications. But first, let's have a bit of a recap on what a push notification actually is. Sending push notifications is a simple three-step process. Those components in blue are those components which we as developers have to program for. Those components in green are the services or APIs that we utilize to complete our scenario. So the first step of the scenario is to have our application call into the WinRT API to request a channel URI. A channel URI uniquely identifies an application's tile on the start screen. Using that channel URI you can send push notifications. But we may want to store the channel URIs for all of our users, and to do that we can utilize mobile services. In this case we pass our channel URI up to our mobile service, and it will reside there until our mobile service determines that it's time to send a push notification to our user. So in our scenario that we're going to build here, when a to-do item is added to the list, we're just going to use that to invoke a push notification. So to send the push notification, our mobile service needs to grab that channel URI, authenticate against the Windows Push Notification Service, otherwise known as WNS, and then send a notification payload. And that payload will describe, say, a tile update, a badge update for the tile, or even a toast notification. Once we send that to WNS, it will go off and deal with delivering that notification to the appropriate client, and the notification client platform will deal with the complexities of rendering that update on your UI. And that's in essence the push notification lifecycle. So let's return to mobile services within the Windows Azure portal and start building out this scenario. I'm in the mobile services portal here, and so everyone has a consistent starting point. I'm going to start with a new mobile service. I'm going to create a new compute mobile service, click create, and we're going to call this nhpush, and we're going to use, in this case I've already got a mobile service, so I'm going to use an existing SQL database instance. So this mobile service is going to be multi-tenant within the same DB as another one of my mobile services. I'm going to choose to have that mobile service within the East US region. I'm going to now provide the password for my DB server, and I'm going to have that database deployed in the East US as well. So that ensures that my mobile service and my DB are within the same DC. Hit OK. Alright, so that's now creating my service. OK, and we're done. So now we can just click into this service, and I'm going to download the Quick Start application, and then we'll extend that from there. So let's hit save. A dev folder is a good enough place. So open this, extract it, and open the client application. So the first thing that we'll need to do is we'll need to configure our client application for notifications. I'm going to open the package apex manifest. And here we can do that configuration to specify that we want push notifications. Now I want to be able to send push notifications in the form of a wide tile. So to do that I need to specify a default wide tile template. If I go to pictures here, I've got a fine example of beautiful artwork created by myself. Can hit OK on the wide tile. And now we're able to support wide tiles, which means we can also send push notifications to them. Now by default, toast capable is typically not set. So if you want to send toast notifications, you also have to select this option here to say yes for toast capable apps. The next step of the client configuration is to define this as a store app, such that we can get our client credentials for the push notification authentication flow. So to do this we can go to Project, Store, Reserve App. So the first thing we need to do now is to reserve our app name. So I'm going to call this nhpush. Click Reserve App Name. Okay, so that's done now. Now we can get the client credentials for our Windows Store application. So within here you'll see identifying your app. Now there's two ways to do this. We could copy this and edit the package Apex manifest directly, or you can actually come into the application and now say right click on the solution project, say store, associate app with store, sign in. Now I can choose that app which I just created, NHPush, hit next. You can see that it's going to pull in the associated package name and such directly into the solution for me. So that's been done here now for us. So that's the client configuration done. So let's actually start coding the client to perform the first step, request a channel and register it with our mobile service. So I'm going to wire into the onLaunched event here. So what I'd like to do, or the behavior I'd like, is to essentially have every time the app is launched, I want to request that channel to ensure that I get the latest and most current channel and register that with my mobile service, because channels can expire. Now to do that, I'm going to need a channel entity to send up to my mobile service. So I've created a code snippet here, and here it is. This is quite a basic one. It's just got a channel, an ID and a URI. When you implement this in your scenarios, you probably also want to put a date time in to track the expiry of a channel, such that if the channel's expired on the server side, you don't send a push to it. So anyhow, let's get back to requesting this channel. So to request a channel from WNS, I've actually got the snippet here as well, and we'll walk through this code. So the first key piece here is to call the push notification channel manager. Now this class resides in the Windows networking push notifications namespace. So the method here on that is called create push notification channel for application async. And what this does is it's a call into the Windows API, and it will return back a channel for your application to use. Now that channel object has a few properties on it. It has URI, and there's the expiration time, which we talked about before. So let's look at my next step here. My next step is I'm creating an instance of the channel entity. That's my data transfer object that I'm sending up to mobile services, and I'm going to set the ID. Now I'm doing something here with local settings. So basically what I'm using is I'm using local settings as a store or a storage point to track the ID of that channel that's stored within mobile services, because the net result is I don't want to send up and insert duplicate channel URIs for the same application. I want it to, on the first time I send it to mobile services, I want it to be an insert. The next time I try to send that channel URI for this application, I want it to be an update. So I do that using this to maintain that state. So in this first case, when this first executes, the channel ID is null. So this ID here will be null, and we track the channel URI. Now since the channel ID is null, I perform a simple insert on our mobile service using the get table, then insert async, and pass up that DTO. So that will now insert that channel, and then as part of this insert operation, it actually updates the ID to whatever was assigned on the server side for it. So after inserting, I store the ID of the channel, such that on subsequent executions of this, our channel ID is now persisted within this local setting. So the next time this runs, say the next time I launch my application, the channel ID will actually have a value, and I'll just purely be performing an update to the channel. So that's all you need to request a channel from WNS and register it. The two key pieces being the call to create push notification for channel async, and the second being a call to insert your channel up on the server. The remainder of this is purely about making our solution more efficient. So that's that. So what's the next step? Well, now that we've registered the channel with mobile services, we actually have to go into our mobile service and create this channel table. So we don't have a channel table yet, so we need to create that such that the channel can be stored within there. So let's switch over to the portal. So I'm back in the portal now, and we'll click into our NHPush mobile service. In the data tab, we need to create that channel table. So let's name it channel. So there's our channel table. We'll use the default permissions. The other table that we need, since this is the to-do list sample, is the to-do item table. Let's do this to-do item. Hit save, and there's our to-do item table. So let's run this client application to see where we're up to. So on executing this, the behavior we should see is after this loads, in the background what's happened is we've requested that channel and registered it with our mobile service. So let's flip back to the portal, click into the channel table, and as you can see there's our channel URI. So that's great. So we've made the first step of requesting a channel and the second step of registering it with our service. So the next piece we need to do is we need to set up that authentication piece for the server side now, such that we can authenticate against WNS. So we can do that on the Push tab. So on the Push tab here, we're able to enter our Windows application credentials. And we can do this through the Windows Store. And you can see this was our client config that we were at before. Now if I click on authenticating your service, you can actually get the security identifiers from here. So let's copy them back into the portal. To make this easier on myself, I'm just going to pull this across that way and pull this across that way. So let's create or copy the package SID, drop that in here, and let's copy the client secret and drop that in here. Okay, done. So let's hit save, yes, and now we've got our server-side config completed. So the next step that we need to do is to just compose the message that we want to send. So let's return to the data tab. Now for this scenario, we need something to trigger the push notification. And in this case, I'm going to use a server-side script on the insert of a to-do item to send that push. So I'm going to select script here. Great, so on the insert operation here now, I'm going to drop in some code. So I've done this to speed things up a little bit. So let's step through this code. The first step here, in the insert, we basically execute the request because we want to insert that item into our DB. On success, I want to respond to the calling client such that they can carry on and continue with what they were doing. And then following that, I want to send my notification. I'm passing in the item that I have saved into that as well, such that I can use its properties. Now, the next step is we need to actually send that notification to a channel, that channel which we collected on the client and stored in the channel table. So what I do is I read all the channels from the channel table, and in this case it's going to send it to any channel that's in our table. So if you had 10,000 users, it would actually be going through those and sending to all of those channels. So you probably want to do a more targeted approach, which is something we cover in the next video. But in any case, we request the channel table and we read all the channels from that. On success, we get the channels from that table here and we iterate through each of those channels. So once we have that individual channel, the operation of sending a push notification is very simple. It's as simple as calling push.wns and then we call send. Now our send operation is overloaded for each individual tile type. So in this case we've got a tile wide peak image 03. So if we go to the tile types enumeration here, you can see that these are all the different types of tiles you can send to users. So there's a number of square ones that take images and also peak text. And if we scroll down further, you can see that we've got the wide tile options as well. And there's a number of different variations for that too. So you can basically choose one that matches the scenario that you require for your application. So let's find the one that we're doing, tile wide peak image 03. Tile wide peak image 03. So we're going to send this particular one. So let's have a look at how we actually set the image and the text for that. So the first thing that we pass in as a parameter to this operation is the channel URI. The next thing that we have here is we specify the image source. That's the image which we want to show. We're doing a wide tile, so we're using a 310 by 150 pixel PNG in this case. Now I'm using a public image URL here, so this is just sitting in blob storage. The next line of text here, or the next property we're setting, is basically the text, and in this case we're just going to send back on the tile the item text. So we're ready to run our client application now and see this tile turn up. So let's run our app, and I'll insert a to-do item, and that should trigger our push notification. So let's say, hello, mobile services. Hit save. So that saved it. So now if we flip to our start screen, any second here we should see the delivered push notification. And there it is. So we've got our image and we've got our text. So that's great, but there's a number of different other push notifications we can send here. We could send something that sends a badge update, or we can send something that sends a toast notification. So let's start with toast and return to the portal. So I'm in the portal now. Let's wire up a toast notification. Now push.wns.send toast. Now we need to define what template type we want, so let's check out the toast template types here. So as you can see, there's a number of toast template types, and in this case we could do an image-based toast with some text, or we could do just a straight toast with just text only. So for simplicity, I'm just going to do a text only version, and I'm just going to use a single string this time. So that's the toast text 01 template. Toast text 01, we need the send on that. Let's put in the channel.uri, and then we just say simply text 1. Okay, so that should be all we need to send our toast. So let's save that. Great. And now let's insert another item. Hit send, and immediately up the top you can see hello toast notification. Now this is a simple text-based toast. There were the toasts which could have images as well. This over here is actually the application icon, and since I haven't defined one, you get this little X. So you should always define your app icon within your Visual Studio solution. So that's that. Let me close that. I think the last one we'll do is badge notifications. So let's send a badge. So for badge notifications, we've also got a number of different template types. So if I go to the badge overview here, you can see badges actually turn up on the tile in the bottom right hand corner. And we've got a number of different options for that. So the first option is called a numeric badge, and you can have that as a digit. The other type of badge is called a glyph badge, and a glyph badge can basically show a pre-specified image, such as an activity icon, an alert, mail icon, play, and whatnot. So we'll probably send a glyph-based badge. So let's do that. So let's return to the portal. Say push.wns.send badge. So to complete sending the badge, just specify again the channel URI, so our target channel, and we also specify what we'd like to send. And in this case, I'd like to send perhaps, let's see here, a new message type badge. So new message, hit save. Now this should be ready to run. So let's run our client application here. Say test badge. So that should have executed our script, and if we jump back to the start screen here, you can see that the badge has pushed in. And that's all you need to do to be able to send toast, tile, and badge notifications using mobile services. I think you'll agree it's quite an easy scenario with the nice APIs that mobile services provides. The last thing that I'll leave you with is we'll just switch to the portal here for a second, is this help option. So if you're having trouble figuring out how to write your scripts, you can see that within the help we have contextual help here on the script editing, and there's this option here, send push notifications. You can scroll through here and it'll give you a simple example of how to send that push.